All right, let's dive into a topic that's, frankly, pretty scary and often misunderstood: pediatric shock. We're talking about a condition that can literally hide in plain sight. A kid can look okay one minute and then be in a life or death situation the next. It's that fast.
So that leads us to a really terrifying question. I mean, how is it possible that a child who seems maybe just a little bit sick could actually be minutes away from a total crisis? Well, the answer, it's all about the incredible, but also incredibly fragile resilience of a child's body. You see, kids have what doctors call high physiological reserves. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying their bodies are, well, they're amazing at compensating when things go wrong. They can keep up this appearance of being stable, this sort of deceptive calm, even when their systems are screaming for help on the inside. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. That resilience has a serious dark side, because when they finally can't compensate anymore, they don't just fade, they crash. And they crash hard and fast. And the stakes here, they are incredibly high. I mean, just look at this number. We're talking about 10 million children worldwide every single year. This isn't some rare, obscure condition. It's one of the most common reasons kids end up in a life-threatening situation. So yeah, understanding this stuff is absolutely vital. Okay, so let's get down to basics. What are we actually talking about when we say shock? Because it's not what you think. It's not about being surprised or, scared by a movie. In medicine, shock means something much, much more serious. It's a complete system failure. So the textbook definition is right here, but let's break it down. At its heart, shock is when the circulatory system fails to do its number one job, getting enough blood to the major organs. That's a process called perfusion. And when your brain, your heart, your kidneys, when they don't get the oxygen and nutrients from that blood flow, well, they start to shut down. It's that simple and that serious. So to really wrap our heads around how this happens, there's a really simple analogy that works perfectly. Think of your circulatory system as having three main parts. You've got the pump, that's the heart, obviously. You've got the pipes, those are all your blood vessels, and you've got the reservoir. That's the actual blood volume, the fluid in the system. If any one of these three things has a major failure, boom, you can go into shock. And using that framework, pump, pipes, reservoir, it makes understanding the four main types of shock so much easier. So you've got hypovolemic shock. That's a reservoir problem. There's just not enough fluid in the tank, maybe from dehydration or bleeding. Then there's distributive shock. That's a pipe problem. The pipes get too wide or leaky, like what happens in sepsis. Cardiogenic shock, that's a classic pump failure. The heart isn't working right. And finally, obstructive shock is when there's a blockage, literally stopping blood from getting out of the pump. Okay, so remember that deceptive calm we were talking about at the beginning? Well, this is where it all happens. It's in the first stage, which is called compensated shock. And you can think of it like this. Inside the body, there's a secret, high-stakes battle going on just to keep the lights on. The body has one mission and one mission only: keep blood pressure up to get blood to those vital organs. And in this compensated stage, it pulls out all the stops, using a whole bag of tricks to make it happen. And this, right here, is why a normal blood pressure reading can be so dangerously misleading. It doesn't mean the kid is fine. It just means their body is still winning the fight, for now. So how does the body pull this off? What are its secret weapons? Well, first, it floors it on the heart rate. That's called tachycardia. The heart just beats faster and faster to try and push more blood through the system. Second, it gets smart about blood distribution. It starts shutting down blood flow to less important places, like the skin, and shunts it all to the core, to the brain, the heart, the kidneys. That's why a child in shock might have cold hands and feet. And third, breathing speeds up. That's tachypnea, to try and blow off acid and fix the body's chemistry, which is going haywire. And here's the key. These defense mechanisms, those are the clues. The signs of this internal fight are the things we have to look for. But man, are they subtle. Often the very first and most sensitive sign is just a change in how the child is acting. Maybe they're super agitated or really lethargic and out of it. That, plus the fast heart rate, the fast breathing, the cold skin, these are the quiet alarm bells that are just so easy to miss if you're not looking for them. But here's the thing. The body can't keep this up forever. It's burning through energy like crazy. And if the root problem isn't fixed, eventually the body's defenses just get overwhelmed. It runs out of gas. It can't fight anymore. And this is the tipping point. And when that happens, the change isn't gradual. It's a cliff. The body's ability to compensate just fails. The secret battle is over and the body has lost. And that's when this silent emergency becomes a very, very loud crisis.
So what's the big difference? What's the line that gets crossed? It's one thing: blood pressure. In compensated shock, like we said, the body is fighting tooth and nail to keep that blood pressure normal. But once we hit uncompensated shock, it plummets. That's called hypotension. And that's the exact moment the battle shifts. The body goes from winning to losing, and the signs go from subtle little clues to flashing red lights. And the signs of uncompensated shock, yeah, you can't miss these. The pulse becomes weak and thready. The skin looks awful. It can be cold, gray, even mottled as the circulation just gives up. The body's temperature starts to drop. I mean, this is the body actively shutting down right in front of you. So once a child hits this stage, it's an all-out race against the clock. The goal for the medical team is twofold. First, you have to support that failing circulatory system right now. But just as important, you have to figure out why this is happening and treat the underlying cause. And this quote right here just says it all. You don't wait. You don't sit around waiting for lab tests to come back. You see the clinical signs of shock and you treat it. Period. The real key, the absolute goal, is to jump in before the blood pressure ever drops. You want to catch it back in that compensated stage when the alarms are still quiet. So the medical response follows a very clear playbook. It all starts with what's called an AID-E assessment. That's airway, breathing, circulation, a step-by-step way to check all the critical systems. The number one treatment is usually fluids, and lots of them fast. You're trying to refill that reservoir we talked about. Now, if getting a normal IV in is too hard, which it often is in a sick kid, there's a backup plan, an intraosseous or IO line. They can actually put a needle right into the bone marrow, which is a super fast way to get fluids and drugs into the body. And all while this is happening, the team is scrambling to treat the root cause, like giving antibiotics for sepsis, and getting the pediatric ICU team involved right away. And why the rush? Because every second counts. The cost of delaying treatment is just catastrophic. We're talking widespread organ damage. The brain, the lungs, the kidneys, they all start to fail. It can lead to massive clotting problems, and if the whole process isn't stopped and reversed, it's fatal. Time is everything. So, this all brings us right back to where we began, with that deceptive calm. If we know the crisis starts with that secret internal battle, and we know the signs of that battle are so subtle, then what's the single most important thing to take away from all of this? It's simple. Early recognition is everything. Understanding that a child who's breathing a bit too fast, who seems unusually agitated, and who has cold hands, that child might not just be a little sick, but could be in the first stages of shock. That recognition is the first and most critical step to saving their life.